quarterback that has great weapons around him. The Bucs didn't play a very good game. They have a lot of things that they have to fix. When you talk about offensively, obviously the number one thing is you have to find a way to protect Tom Brady. How do you get the pressure out of his face? We saw too many times in that game where Tom just had happy feet. And when Tom gets happy feet, you saw it in the Super Bowls against the Giants. When he gets happy feet, he likes to throw the ball to the other team. He's getting rid of the ball much quicker than he wants to, and he's just not comfortable in the pocket. The second thing, and probably is the first thing, is how do you get your defense that is built upon pressure, getting in the quarterback space, blitzing, making sure the quarterback doesn't have time to survey the field and get the ball out? How do you find a way to get pressure on Drew Brees? And because Drew Brees is one of those guys that says, I know where you're coming from, and I'm going to throw the ball before you get there. We have to be able to adjust defensively if I'm on the Bucs. Those are the two things I'm worried about, but I'm not going to allow my confidence to waver up and down based on two losses against a very good football team.
Yeah, but I do think it's noteworthy that Arians said this. In this regard, when he says, I don't think our confidence is shaken one bit, and I understand that they believe they're in good position, and I disagree on that point entirely because I think they have to go undefeated to have any chance of winning their division. And you don't win your division, you're on the road in the entire playoffs. But the other element here is, like, Bruce Arians has made the conscious choice, I'm going to defend Mike Evans and Byron Leftwich at the expense of Brady. And he didn't have to do that. So I think that when we look at the Bucs season, if you just break it up into kind of chunks, the first 5 games, they were 3-2, and I would say was middling results. Bad loss to New Orleans, bad loss to Chicago, couple good wins over bad teams, and then an escape against the Chargers, who we didn't know were just going to invent new ways to lose. Then they played 2 great football games against the Packers and against the Raiders who were a good team. And then the last 2 weeks, Brandon, they've been awful. Like, I understand there's a win next to one of those games. They were awful against the Giants. Receivers were running wide open, and they got annihilated against the Saints. So, to me, this team hasn't been playing at a level of consistency at any point all season, and that would be greatly concerning to me.
Yeah, 100%. But, Nick, this is the National Football League. I mean, things happen. But when you look at this, they have all the weapons in the world. They have one of the best offensive lines. Like, when they get Marpet back, they'll be fine. Okay, now you look at the quarterback. The quarterback is more than capable, and they have a top 5 defense. So my confidence level will be at a 10, because when I look around the National Football League, Wilds, I'm looking at this setup, everything on paper, the film. This is the type of situation you want to be in. So do we negate what happened when they played the Green Bay Packers and how high everybody were on the Tampa Bay Bucs back then? Now they play against the Saints, who have chemistry and continuity, who've been together for the past, been running the same thing for 10+ years. The offensive coordinator, the offensive coaches, the defensive coaches been together the last couple years. Like, do we not take that into account? Like, of course they're supposed to be in a better situation right now when you look at the regular season, and then you compare that to Tom Brady and the Tampa Bay Bucs, who just put this thing together in the middle of a global pandemic. So for me, my confidence level is still at a 10, because we're still one of the best teams in the National Football League because of all of those reasons.
You know, Brandon, you brought up one of the major points is that Tom Brady didn't have much of an offseason with this football team. Of course, you didn't have the OTAs and the mini camps and things like that. And more importantly, you just added a major piece, Antonio Brown, to your offense, and you're still trying to figure out a way to how to fit him in, as well as get your running game going. A big part of some of their wins earlier this season was Ronald Jones and Leonard Fournette. Those guys didn't have very many opportunities, almost a league low of opportunities in this past game because of the way the Saints were scoring the football. And so there's a lot of different things that went wrong for the Bucs in this game. If you could correct some of those things, I think that there may be a different outcome when you look at if you get another opportunity to play the Saints.
Brian, I'm gonna push back on you here. When you said a league low, you're being very, very kind. They had 4 rushing attempts in a kneel down It's the lowest in NFL history. And I told our researcher, and he's like, no, Kevin. Actually, modern NFL history. In 1952, the Chicago Cardinals also did the same thing. So I think we're getting lost in the sauce here when you got a team being blown out and only running the ball 4 times, literally the lowest of all time. We're like, maybe it's Tom Brady's fault. Like, no. Maybe it's your fault for devising a plan that literally the world hasn't seen since the Chicago Cardinals, who no one even knew was a team. So I feel like you need to ride with the running backs here a little more aggressively. You're yelling at me about the Patriots win. You got to yell at Bruce Arians about not using your guy Leonard Fournette more.
Get the ball to the running back. That's the key to victory for the Bucs. Protect your quarterback. Make things easier on your quarterback. Of course, 4 carries, that's like the first quarter for a running back. You can't win like that.
So and I apologize, I didn't give my confidence level. Confidence level, the number would be 4.5 if I'm the Bucs. And I'm just going to keep harping on this point. And I'm supposed to do that. It was a bad job by me. I got to stick with the idea of the show. I don't know why or how anyone can gloss over the fact that fans or no fans, the Bucs are going to be on the road the entire postseason. It's a huge deal. And they knew that were the stakes going into the Saints game, and they didn't lose a heartbreaker. They didn't lose a nail-biter. Yeah. They got outclassed in every phase of the game. It was their biggest game left on their schedule, and they got blown out. Like, in order for your confidence
so how should
to
we
not
think
be
about the
shaken
Green Bay
by
Packers? So how should we think about the Green Bay Packers, Nick?
Brandon,
they got blown out by the Tampa Bay Bucks.
That wasn't their biggest game of the year.
They got blown out by the Tampa Bay Bucks.
They didn't have the.
It's the National Football League. It's week to week. They'll be fine. They'll be fine. They'll be fine. It's the National Football League. If we're going to talk about how you lose a game, a good team lose a game, then let's have that same discussion with other teams around the league that's getting blown out.
And here's the commitment I give to you. I give you my word. If there is any other team in the league that is being called a Super Bowl contender, and they get swept in their season series by their divisional rival, and now they're going to be on the road the whole postseason, they're no longer a Super Bowl contender. Guess what? If Baltimore loses to Pittsburgh, it's not moving the mark. That's not moving the mark at all. If Baltimore loses to Pittsburgh, they're out. If they get swept by, even though the first game came down to the last play instead of getting blown out. If you go 0-2 against Pittsburgh and you're on the road the whole time, you're done. Like, I just can't think of an instance of a team who has this trajectory. You have a Super Bowl contender in your division. They whoop you twice in the regular season. You're on the road throughout the playoffs, and you end up turning that into a Super Bowl team. I can't think of the team that fits that profile. I don't think that's moving the mark at all.
Yeah, because every Sunday you win differently. There's different things that happen. Guys get injured. There's different situations, different matchups. So to be, say, 4.5 and be this low in the Tampa Bay Bucks, then we need to have that same energy when we're talking about the Green Bay Packers. We need to have that same energy with the Kansas City Chiefs when they lost their game. So there's so much football left. So let's just hold off a little bit and let's see what happens in the next couple weeks.
All right, well, I got a lot of energy. I'm going to do burpees while I read you this tease.